country, Uganda, that is Edward Kiwanuka Sekandi, have arrived. So I wanted us to officially stand up and welcome Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament Rebecca Kadaga and the Vice President Edward Kiwanuka Sekandi. All right, so I want all of us to welcome the Vice President of this country, Mr. Edward Kiwanuka Sekandi. Let's give him a round of applause as he comes to take his seat. Also arriving is the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for honoring our invitation. We are so thrilled to have you. Right Honorable Speaker and the Vice President, I want to ask you to stand as we officially begin with a word of prayer to usher this convention and expo before the presence of God. I want to invite Pastor Eddie Jumba from Dominion Church to come and lead us before God. Okay, I've been corrected that we will start with the anthems and then the prayer comes. I want to invite Mariam Dagire to come and lead us in the national anthem.
Thank you. O Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hands. United, free for liberty, together we'll always stand. O Uganda, the land of freedom, our love and labor we give. And with neighbors all at our country's call in peace and friendship, we'll live. O Uganda, the land that feeds us by sun and fertile soil grown. For our own dear land we'll always stand the pearl of Africa's crown.
Thank you. Let's now have the East African anthem.
Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Uzalendo pia mshikamano viwe msingi wa umoja wetu, na tulinde uhuru na amani, mila zetu na desturi zetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike na hata mashambani, tufanye kazi sote kwa makini, tujitoe kwa hali na mali, tuijenge jumuiya bora. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
I want to now invite Simona Williams and Lindsley Sewaya to lead us in the Canadian anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. Ton place porter les pays, des flux rayonnants de toi. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants histoires. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I now want to invite Pastor Eddie Jumba to lead us into the presence of God. Pastor.
So my tendency is to pray with the people, not to pray for the people. So as I pray with you, I'll share with you a 1-minute story that is going to shape our prayer. There was a couple that moved into this neighborhood, and every single morning as they were having breakfast, the wife would look through the window and makes a comment to the husband and says, something is wrong with our neighbors. They don't know how to wash their clothes. So this was the wife looking at the clothes that were hanging that you could see through the window. And this conversation happened many times. And this morning, this one day, the conversation was different. The wife turns to the man and says, wow, finally they figured out how to wash their clothes because I can see that the clothes look really clean. And the husband says to the wife, no, it has nothing to do with their clothes. This morning, I washed our window. So as you think about what is clogging your window, I'm inviting you to pray with me. Let us pray together as this sets a point of reflection for the 3 days that we're going to be here in the convention. It is the case that many times we've been judged or have judged others because of our inability to see clearly. Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, we thank you for this precious moment. In the very first place, we want to come with hearts full of gratitude, grateful for the blessings, those that we are able to see, those that we have counted, but even most importantly, those that we have taken for granted, like the gift of life that every single one of us here is able to breathe. We thank you for the blessings, those that we're enjoying now and those that will come. God, in a very special way, we thank you for the men and women that are behind this convention. We thank you for the men and women that have attended. And we trust that the purpose of this convention will come to pass. We even thank you for the obstacles and the challenges that have been surrounding this convention. And we know that at the end of the day, we'll emerge successful. We dedicate everything that is going to be taking place throughout the convention into your hands. We ask for your protection. We ask for your guidance. We ask for your wisdom, that every word that will be spoken throughout this convention will be only that is going to build and edify those who are going to be listening. We bless you, we glorify you, and we pray through Christ our Lord with thanksgiving. Amen.
Thank you very much. I invite you all to have and take your seats, please. We want to say a special thank you to all our sponsors. And that is, I want to start with the Parliament of Uganda, NBS Television, Sheraton, we have the Uganda Tourism Board. I'll be mentioning many more. But I want to officially welcome you all. Thank you for making time to come and be with us. I now want to invite the chairman of the Uganda Canada Diaspora Business Expo and Convention, OHT Wanalima, to come and officially welcome the guests this morning.
Thank you, Solomon. Welcome to Toronto. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, Right Honorable Speaker, Madam High Commissioner, we really appreciate you. We really appreciate you having graced this convention with your presence. And we can't take it so lightly that you picked Canada to come and be with us. We are born in the best country in the world, the most beautiful country, Uganda. And we do happen to live in a very good country, Canada. And our goal as the Uganda-Canadian diaspora is to give us that opportunity of how can we get these two together. The majority of Ugandans in Canada are well educated. We live in a country that has a lot of potential, economic, education-wise, and tourism. And how can we best, as Ugandans, tap into this? How can we use the facilities that we have in place to build our motherland, much as we live in another country? We're all, at the end of the day, born Ugandans. Function and the main essence of this convention is to outline those things that make us Ugandans and what have we learned from Canada that we can take back home. And again, as Canadians, there are some issues that we would like to bring forward to those, Your Honorable, Your Excellency, and Madam Right Speaker. Issues that affect us would be national ID. As Ugandan Canadians, that has turned out to be a very critical factor. It's going to impact us when we try to invest back home. National IDs are really a very critical factor for your people in the diaspora. Dual citizenship is another issue that's really impacting us, and we would really see if it is possible to be facilitated that we can register for dual citizenship, get our national IDs in either our consulates or our embassies. That would be a great help to the people in the diaspora. Then when we talk about the economic opportunities that Canada has to offer and Uganda has to offer, and we who've been in the diaspora for a while, want to try to invest back home, we've faced a lot of challenges. But if there is a way that we could work with the diaspora desk, set up something that caters for the diaspora in terms of business opportunities, we are more than willing to invest in our motherland. We have come this far, but our heart is still back home. That's why in this year, the main theme that we are trying to do is how do we promote Uganda as a tourist destination? How do we, you and me, in one-on-one, reach out to the Canadians that we work with, tell them the good stories that happen in Uganda? I'll use a very simple example. There is a story of an unfortunate situation that happened in Western Uganda where a tourist was kidnapped. Nothing else was said after the government did all it could do to ensure the safety of that person. But the negativity had already been done. That's where we come in as Uganda Canadians. Let's do what we can do for country. Your Excellency, Right Honorable, thanks for coming to Toronto. We greatly appreciate the honor that you've given us. Thank you so much. Please enjoy the convention. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, OHT Wanalima, for those remarks. Well, I want to say a special thank you to our sponsors, Parliament of Uganda, Post Bank, NBS Television, Diaspora TV. We're actually streaming live on Diaspora TV with an audience of over 500,000 people watching on Facebook. And so you can go there and be part of the conversation. It's going on already. We want to say a special thank you to the Uganda Investments Authority, to the Uganda Tourism Board, Housing Finance Bank, United Africa, Ethiopian Airlines, and many more. I will be, mentioning some of those as we continue. We also want to say a special thank you to members of parliament who traveled all the way from Uganda. Honorable members of parliament, allow me to mention your names for recognition, and together I'll invite you to all stand up and wave to the public. I want to say a special thank you to Honorable Jack Wamanga Wamai. Thank you very much for coming. Honorable Makumbi Henry, thank you very much for coming. Honorable Chivalia Morris, thank you very much for coming. Honorable Macmot Otto Edward, thank you very much for coming. Where are you? Okay. Honorable Ntende Robert, I was told they arrived this morning. I think they'll be here later. And then Honorable Bategeka Lawrence also arrived this morning. So I'm sure they're trying to settle in, but they'll be joining us. So thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate you. Honorable Speaker, thank you for allowing the members of parliament to come. We really appreciate it. All right, so I want to invite Uganda's ambassador to Canada, Her Excellency Joy Ruth Acheng, to come and officially give her remarks. Let's give her some love. Your Excellency, you're welcome. No, I think you need to stand here.
Your Excellency, the Vice President of Republic of Uganda, Edward Kiwanuka Sekandi, the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, members of Parliament who are present here with us, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you are most welcome. Thank you so much for coming to attend this very important event, the third Ugandan Canadian Expo, which is being held today in Toronto at Marriott Hotel. Uganda, especially for some of you that have never been to Uganda, is a beautiful country found in eastern part of Africa. With the estimated population of 42 million people. This beautiful country is surrounded by 3 great lakes, that is Lake Victoria, Edward, and Lake Albert. It covers about 100,000 square kilometers of land and 43,938 square kilometers by water. It is land-linked, not landlocked, as some people assume. Kampala is our capital city. Our GDP by the end of 2019 is estimated to be $30 billion US. Our exports are majorly agriculture, which ranges from coffee, tea, oil, fish, etc. Our major export destinations are Kenya, Sudan, Rwanda, DRC, Congo, that is Democratic Republic of Congo, and Italy. Those are our major, or the main export destinations. Our business agent is called Uganda Investment Authority, which is a one-stop center. And what is the role of Uganda Investment Authority? They register companies that want to come to Uganda and do business, and they issue trading license to those companies. And it takes 2 to 5 days for your company to be registered, and you get the license, you get the certificate, and it is free of charge. There are also other benefits that the government of Uganda offers to the investors. Our areas that has the opportunities for investment ranges from agriculture. And in agriculture, if any of you are interested to come to Uganda and invest in agriculture, we are looking at value addition. We produce a lot of food, and these food are organic. But unfortunately, most of them we export in raw forms. We want this food to be processed for export. And also, when we process it from Uganda, we also create jobs for you sisters and brothers who are at home. So in the grow processing areas, we are looking at maize milling. We produce a lot of maize. We want to process this maize into posho, which will be consumed within the country and the neighboring countries. We have market for you in case you're interested. We're also looking at fruits processing factories. We produce a lot of fruits. Remember, it is organic and very good. So what we are looking at in this area is to set fruits processing industries where we will be processing our organic fruits into juices, concentrates, jam, ready for consumption within and outside for export. Palm oil production, rice production. In rice production, we do a lot of rice production, especially on the eastern part of Uganda. And we are calling upon partners that can come to Uganda and support rice production. They will be working with our farmers, maybe helping them to provide them with the seeds. Then eventually they will buy those rice and then process into finished products. Oil and gas. Uganda is a blessed country and a very rich country with oil, mineral, and others. Oil has been discovered with 85% of drilling success. I'm glad to inform you that we outsourced about 13 Canadian companies from Alberta, and they have been registered and enrolled into doing business in Uganda in the area of oil. Minerals. Uganda is blessed with the different types of minerals. In case any of you or any of your friends have companies that do mining, they are welcome. We have gold, we have copper, which is about 6 million tons at Kilembe. We have 5.5 million tons of cobalt. We have 3 million tons of iron ore. We have 300 million tons of iron ore. We have 3 million tons of kaolin. We have 300 million tons of dimension stones, where you can do where you can go and process it. In Moroto, which is the mountain forest reserve, we have marble stone. So anyone who is interested in marble and cement factory is welcome to do this business. In the area of transportation, we are looking at decongesting the traffic jam within Kampala. So we are also calling upon the potential companies that can do the Kampala transport the rapid transport system is welcome. We have nice paved roads within Kampala. In the area of energy, the government of Uganda is putting a lot of effort in renewable energy. You are most welcome. There are potentials of hydroelectric power, especially on the rivers that are out of the capital. We really want to exploit this and make sure that we have enough power, and that can help do a lot of work in agro-processing and other industrial-related activities. Renewable energy, ICT has a lot of opportunities. If any of the companies are interested in ICT, you are most welcome to Uganda. Tourism, good enough there is somebody who is coming to tell you how beautiful this beautiful country is. Uganda is the best tourist destination in the world. Unfortunately, some of us who are Ugandans, we don't even know. So I want to call upon everybody here to visit Uganda. Even if you're not coming to do business, come and visit and see how beautiful Uganda is, how tasty the food is, and how nice Ugandans are. And one thing, you know, when you go to other neighboring countries, you go to Rwanda and you see gorilla, you think you've seen a gorilla. You've not seen a gorilla. Come to Uganda and see a huge gorilla with a silver back that does not climb the mountain. Those ones are small ones that goes and cross. So it is the best tourist destination. And I am even calling upon my Ugandans who are here and friends of Uganda. Come and have honeymoons in Uganda. Come and marry in Uganda. Come and have destination weddings in Uganda. You will never regret. Oh, thank you so much for listening to me. But before I know time is not on our side, I cannot live here without answering the issue of immigration, immigration-related dual citizenship. We are doing a great work in this area. We were supposed to be here in August this year, last year, but there were 2 programs. Then we went to Edmonton. But after Edmonton, I did not sit. I went to Kampala and put our request. And as I speak now, we have an answer to that. The Ministry of Immigration has given us an immigration attaché that will come and sit in Canada, in Ottawa, to do all those registration, national ID, dual citizenship, so that when you come home, you don't come as a visitor. I feel so bad when you come and you start paying for the visas to come to your own country. So all those issues will be addressed. When she arrives, I'll make sure she reach all parts of Canada and address your concern as far as immigration matters are concerned. Once again, I want to thank you so much. I want to thank the organizers of this expo for making our work easier. And I want to call upon all Ugandans who are here and who are not here. You can convey the message to them that we know why we are here. We are not here to continue splitting. We are here to stand together, and united we stand. Once we are united, we are stronger, we can grow, we can develop. So I want to pledge my support that I will always be with you. I'll always support you. Our office is in Ottawa. It is open for you, and we are here for you. Don't come when you're in trouble. Most of you want to come to us when you're in trouble, and when it has reached the extent that we cannot help you. You know, when you come at an initial stage that you have issue, we can work out the solution together, okay? That is your home. Without you, we would not be here. Thank you very much, and I wish everybody a pleasant participation. Thank you.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for those remarks, and we really, really appreciate. I have a brother who is not from here, He's from the UK. But every time he's coming home, he pays for a visa. It's called Kawoya. And I keep telling him, boss, how do you feel coming back home and you have to go and apply for a visa and pay $50? It's $50, right? At Entebbe Airport. It's painful. It's really painful. And I'm sure many of you who come back home and pay that $50, you feel like you're an alien, you know, and yet you're coming back home. So I'm happy that NIRA and Immigrations Control is actually giving you an attaché. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for making this happen. It's quite a beautiful one. And as we are talking about the silverbacks, I was looking at the Honorable Edward Chiwanuka Sekandi, the Vice President, and the Speaker looking at you and nodding and saying, yes, you should come and visit the country and look at the silverbacks. Honorable Speaker, the last time we were here, we talked about something, that you would go and chill a bit. I'm sure the last 1 year, you got some opportunity to go and look at the silverbacks. But Uganda is also a member of the Canada-Africa Chamber of Commerce. And we are so thrilled to have the chairman of the Canada-Africa Chamber of Commerce, Sebastian Spiel-Gaber. I hope I have pronounced your name right, sir, to come and share with us. Welcome. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Excellencies. Good morning, all of you. I'm Sebastian. I'm from Ghana. Thank you. And taking a hint from our dear brother, the pastor, I wanted to say something to give context to my remarks. In 1884, in Berlin, the great powers of Europe met at a breakfast like this, right? And figured out what to do with Africa, okay? And what most people don't realize is that if you look at Europe, the king of Spain's daughter would marry the nephew of the king of England, and the king of England's niece will marry the son of the king of Austria. So this was a family conference. When we study history, we tend to think of it as a sort of like a UN conference where there was Spain and Austria and Germany. But this was a family affair. These were basically different kings whose nephews and nieces and daughters were all married to each other, sitting in Berlin and deciding that, what are we to do with Africa? And they said, John, why don't you take Congo? Antoine, you take Togo. This one, you take Nigeria. That's pretty much what happened. It was essentially and for the last more than 100 years, we are fighting each other, arguing with each other, bickering. Rwandans against Burundians, Ghanaians against Nigerians, Togolese against Beninois. It's madness. It's nonsense. And so, I, as a Ghanaian, I feel extremely privileged to have been invited to come and support this event. And I share this anecdote to say that a lot of these chairs in this room should have been filled by Nigerians, Kenyans, Ghanaians, Togolese, Rwandans. Yes. So I really pray and I hope that, our grandfathers won independence, and our fathers, like the Honorable Speaker and the Vice President, their generation tried their best during the Cold War with all the chaos in the world to preserve African independence. And I really hope that we, the younger generation, would move beyond the divisions that are in Africa. So I really challenge my brothers and sisters in the Ugandan Chamber of Commerce that next year, make a serious effort to make sure that every other African community in Toronto attend this kind of events. And let us also attend theirs, because there is a lot that we can learn from each other. We shouldn't remain captured by the decisions of these European monarchs of 200 years ago. We should see each other. So when there's a Nigerian event, or there's a Burundian event, or there's a Togolese event, we should feel very much that these are our brothers and sisters. We should go. I have learned something. I said to Madam Speaker, I said to your colleagues who were outside, I have, by the grace of God, I have been working for almost 17 years helping to promote investments from Europe, America, and Canada into Africa. I have never gone to an event when the parliament of a country has been represented. Never in my life. I have never, ever gone to an event where the parliament has been represented. So I was just with the president of Ghana, and people tend to think, oh, Ghana is a very democratic country, etc., etc. So I'm going to tell him that somehow the parliament wasn't represented. I have never been to an event where so many of the organizers were the young people. I mean, you enter the place, you see young lawyers, young pastors, young therapists, all of them sick. So I was encouraged, even as a, as an African from another country, I was encouraged. And I think that this is the sort of thing that we should promote. So I'm sorry to sort of make it a housekeeping point, but I really, truly believe that the next generation of Africans, and Your Excellency, with your permission, we should stand on the shoulders of those who have gone before us and say that all these nonsensical divisions in Africa, which we didn't create, should end in our generation. We shouldn't feel that the problems of Uganda are only the problems of Uganda, or the problems of Togo are only the problems of Togo. So when we see that other organizations are having an event, let us go, let us support, let us stand behind them. Because at the end of the day, we see that even the Europeans, after dividing the rest of the world, they have united. They have divided the rest of the world, and they have united. The Americans have divided the rest of the world, and they have united. So I really, because there's so many young people in the room, I really want to encourage all of us. I really wish very much the Canada-Africa Chamber of Business, which is an association that brings together all the associations that are promoting trade into Africa. We stand behind this, your event. We pray that it will be a successful event. And I'm going to tell the president to send out the invitation to all the other groups, because this room should be filled. We should be here to support you. So thank you so much. And Excellencies, thank you for coming. And God bless this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you very much for your thoughts. And I'm sure many of us agree with you that it's time for us to unite. And speaking of unite, one of our key sponsors for the event is United Africa. We want to say a special thank you to them for sponsoring us. Now, issues of immigration, I'm sure, Your Excellency, you hinted on them, but we are so proud to have Dr. James Lutaya, and he's an expert on immigration issues. He's also a senior lawyer and managing partner of James Associates, to come and speak to us a little bit more about immigration issues. James, welcome. Let's give him a round of applause. James, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those kind words. I first want to acknowledge God. Many of us couldn't make it for whatever reason. A few people applied for visas and they didn't get them, but some people couldn't make the trip for whatever reason, but we should be very thankful that we're here. We made the trip. I also want to acknowledge the indigenous peoples of Canada, who happen to be only 5% of this country, but they have accorded everyone else who are 95% an opportunity to occupy this land and enjoy it and its liberties. The Vice President of Uganda, His Excellency Edward Chwanuka Sekandi, the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, the High Commissioner of Canada, the High Commission of Uganda to Canada, Ambassador Joyce, various MPs, dignitaries, employers, employees, and well-wishers, we are very happy to have you. It's a privilege to have an opportunity to address you. I will just speak more briefly about me to justify why I'm speaking on such an important topic. I've been tasked to discuss about why people need to come to Canada. As Solomon rightly said, I am a managing partner of a law firm, but I also have a group dedicated to bringing people to Canada. It's called Migrate to Canada Group. But my specialties have always been the law. I'm a proud alumni of the Law School of Makerere University. I also have a master's in immigration law and have a doctorate in international human and group rights. So that just gives me a good background and backdrop to discuss on this issue. Now, why would people want to migrate to Canada indeed? It's a question asked, and I can tell you everything good about Canada, but I would need also to give you a few statistics to kind of give an unbiased opinion. And according to a statistic done by Americans, not Canadians, which is the US News and World Report, Canada has been, for the 4th year in a row, ranked the best place to live in the world according to quality of life. Now, that is a very big accomplishment that we shouldn't ignore, considering that people are always seeking to migrate to these countries. To find that you're in a country that has been voted 4 years straight as the best country to live is the first validation as to why it is a very good country to live in. We have also spoken in the magazine on all the economic, social, cultural benefits as to why people should move to Canada, so I'm not going to dwell on those ones. For people watching online, we welcome you as well, and you can look at the UgandaCanadianConvention.com, I think, if I've got it right, website. It also has information on why people should come to Canada. But the main reason why that is Canada is the second biggest country in the world. It's a very big country with several provinces which are almost governments within their own right. And they have a very low birth rate and they have a high death rate, not because people are dying young, but because the population is aging. So there is a need for skilled people to come into this country. And actually, when we look at the immigration policies of Canada, you will find that 60% of the programs are focused on skilled immigration compared to 12% in America. So I will talk about a few programs that help specifically Ugandans, because once we stop saying Canada is a very good country, I'm sure Ugandans want to know, how do we get to Canada? That's very, very important. And one of the most important categories is the permanent residence category. And for those people who don't know about permanent residence, the ability to come to a first world country and you land as a permanent residence is not an easy opportunity. Very few countries do that. Canada does it, New Zealand does it, and Australia in the developed countries. But everyone wants to come to Canada because Canada is close to America, it's close to Europe. But like I said, it's the best country to live. And as you read through, you'll find out why. So the ability to be given permanent residence is not easy, but Canada makes it very easy for people who want to migrate. And I'll give you a few quick examples. The kind of people who are given permanent residence are people between 20 years and 35 years, mainly. They have at least a master's degree or postgraduate diploma. And if they are family, actually, if one has a master's and one has a bachelor's degree, you will find that with that and good English, or English with French, you have permanent residence. Now, to put it in context on how hard it is to get permanent residence elsewhere, if you lived in Britain, you would possibly have to be a permanent resident for 5 years, before you, oh, sorry, you have to live in the country for at least 5 years before you become a permanent resident. In the US, they have the green card, but the green card is also a lottery of its own. And every year, I think the US only issues 140,000 green cards. Now, as of 2019, Canada will be issuing 330,800 permanent resident categories, visas to people want to come. In 2020, they'll be issuing 341 permanent resident categories, visas. And in 2020, they will issue at least 350,000 permanent resident visas. That is almost 1% of Canada's population. So Canada is very committed to welcoming skilled migrants as permanent residents. And when you get into this country, the opportunities available to you are enormous. And they begin from when you get the visa from back home. Canada has a dedicated team which shows you what to do to prepare yourself to come to Canada online. You're given a dedicated caseworker, an individual caseworker who's going to talk to you, look at your skill set, and explain what you need to do to license so you can come to this country. And when you come in, you're ready to actually get the ball rolling. Now, I've lived in several places in North America and in Europe, and I never had that opportunity to be prepared just to come to a country, to settle in. When you get to the airport, there are settlement services as well that welcome you, but also tell you about Canada. And you also have a dedicated member of staff that is allocated by the government to run you through your journey until you actually practice your trade. So there is no excuse why people should come from anywhere in the world and they don't keep in their trade and settle for anything else in Canada, unlike other nations. That is one of the programs that I can discuss in detail individually. And I've explained how you can get it. Other ways you can get permanent residence, actually, other than coming through government, would be through spouses sponsoring you. If you have a Canadian permanent resident or citizen, they can sponsor you to come as a permanent resident, and you would land actually as a permanent resident. In America, possibly that doesn't happen that way. You would have to live in Canada first, in America first for up to 5 years before you become permanent resident. So those are some of the things that we take for granted that Canada offers very willingly, and we should obviously embrace them. Another category that is very helpful for Ugandans is to come as a student. And when I talk about a student visa, I'm not just talking about only the young ones, even the adults who need to improve their education. This opens up a lot of doors for you. At the last convention, Dr. Opio Oloya discussed the benefits of the Canadian system. And today we are going to be privileged to hear from Dr. Lawrence Muganzi, also talking about those benefits. So I don't want to preempt his speech, but I'll just talk about just a few highlights of why the education system is very important to people who are coming. Firstly, it is very family friendly. If you came as a student to Canada, the government allows you to come with your spouse. That is very important. How it makes it happen is it allows the spouse to obtain an open work permit and be able to work in this country and support you while you're doing your studies. That is very helpful for people who are in marriage to come and maintain their marriage, but also to have a partner who's supporting you financially. You as a student can also work part-time while you're studying, and you can work full-time while you're on holiday. Now, it also allows you to come with your children, which is a very big benefit that most countries don't do. The one thing which separates Canada from every other country as far as children are concerned, if you moved as a family and your children are of school-going age, most of the universities allow the students to study for free while the parent is studying. Now, if you came with 2, 3, 4 children and you're paying fees for just you, you would be getting 5 times your money back in terms of the government taking care of your child's education. I find that very, very helpful, but also the education system in this country embraces not just the academics, but it embraces improving the children's minds and the children's abilities to do other things out of academics, like sports, like things they like doing, hobbies. You find that your children are nurtured in a much better way to have an all-round career development that just stay and focus on education, and they make that choice for them much easier because they give them options to excel where they're best at. So I recommend the student visa. Canada is the fourth most expensive country in the world in terms of getting people here, the tuition fees, but it is cheaper than America and than Britain. And if I had time, I would explain that the education system in America, for those who know it, and the education system in Britain doesn't offer students much. It doesn't, if anything. When they finish their studies, they're allowed to work for 1 year, and that's it, and they have no option. When these students come to this country, they are allowed to work for as long as they studied, and I'll explain that. If a child comes for a degree of 3 years, then they're allowed to stay in the country and work for 3 years after they have studied. Ordinarily, when a student has worked for 1 year after their education, they should qualify for permanent residence in this country. So there is a fast-track system where students come here and they become permanent residents in a very, very short span of time. I've brought in lots of students, and I haven't seen any students who have gone back home, not because they don't want to go back home, but because there are many opportunities for them here to then make their way to citizenship, and then they can also obviously then invite their family members and their parents and everyone else. So it's a very good category for people to think about. Another category I want to talk about very briefly is the parent sponsorship and super visa. Now, most parents I speak to who are above the age of 40 who have earned their way in this country. I mean, in Uganda, feel they definitely don't need to be in this country, but there's a benefit to it. It is recognized that when you get to 55 years and above, a few things kick in. Things like cardiovascular disease, cancer, arthritis, cataract, Alzheimer's, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and other things. The opportunity of having your child who has been here sponsor you to come as a permanent resident because they've been in this country helps tend to a medical need that most of our Ugandans have at a later age, but they can obviously not afford to either get specialized treatment, or even if they can, it's not readily available in the country. I've been notified my time is almost up, so I will just finish with just one more category, which is the refugee application. And I find that is also very important for people who need to find sanctuary in Canada for whatever reason, whether it's because of sexual preference, whether it's because of political opinion, whether it's because of their membership of a specific group. I would want to speak more on this, but time won't allow me. But it's a very good opportunity for people to come into this country. Canada offers sanctuary not just to Ugandans, but to people all over the world who need protection for whatever reason. So I will just leave it at that because time has caught up. But please read the magazine, read the online publications. Canada is a very welcoming country. We welcome you, and we thank you so much for making the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, James. I was making some few notes, and I'm sure I saw other people making notes. Thank you very much for that presentation. But allow me also to say that Uganda is a very beautiful country, and we want to welcome all of you. We are a good people, very hospitable, loving, and with a very big potential investment climate. So we want to invite you to the Pearl of Africa, my country, Uganda. Well, James, you mentioned something about education, and we're so privileged to have Dr. Lawrence Muganga, who is an award-winning author and writer, researcher, educator, public policy practitioner, strategist, among others. He recently landed a book deal of about $1.4 million. So he's a Ugandan to celebrate with us today, and we have him in the house. And allow me to invite Dr. Muganga Lawrence to come and share more about education and how it is here and what leaf we can pick as a people. Doctor, you're welcome. Let's give him some love. As he comes, we want to say a special thank you to Stewarkan Constructions. Thank you very much for being our wonderful sponsor for this event. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, MC. Good morning. I am so happy for the first time, I guess, in my life as a Ugandan to be in closer proximity with my Vice President, His Excellency Edward Sekandi, and the Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, people I admired so much long ago growing up. It's a pleasure to have you here. And to everyone here, I'm glad that you are here this morning. Thank you for coming. So my name is Dr. Lawrence Muganga. I always choose to be called Muganga or Lawrence. The titles, we keep them somewhere. So, and we appear as we were born and the name we were given. So, I am also thankful to the organizers. Thank you for inviting me to this event to share with you a word or two. I guess it is a beautiful day for all of us to be alive today. And we should be grateful. And we should be grateful that we are in this country. I was looking around. If Statistics Canada is to be believed, we have Canadians of Ugandan origin, approximately 37,000, right? Approximately 37,000. And that is since 1971, 72 there, when we had the first people who came here as refugees, the Indians who were chased by Idi Amin and ended up here. The number is ranked between 37 to 50,000. So I chose the lowest number, 37. So meaning we are a bigger population in this country. Now, I am asked to talk about education, which I love to talk about with passion. So people will ask themselves that I didn't introduce myself. They talked about me, and that's who I am. Let me tell you about education. Now, I want to also dwell to set for you context on what is happening in the education sector here, in this country, in the world, and in our country. So, as a researcher, I always choose a sample space that I'm going to deal with, and this is the province I come from, Alberta. So if you pick the topmost professions, let's say 10, and in my province, the 10 would be orthopedic surgeon. If you look around Africans, like my brother from Ghana, if he's still here, if you look at Africans in the orthopedic surgeon profession, the number of those is 0. 0. So I don't know how Ontario is doing. So there are those who know better what is happening in Ontario. But the difference is not that big. If you look at neurosurgeons, the number is 0. If you look at heart surgeons or cardiologists, the number is 0. If you look at pilots, the number is 0. That is in a province I come from, which is the most wealth kind of province with almost 5 million people, almost as big as Uganda times closer to 19 times. Yeah? So, but it has Africans zero in the categories I have been talking about. Engineers, 2 African engineers. Dentists, 1 African dentist. General practitioners in medicine, 6 Africans. I'm not talking about Ugandans, people from Uganda. So what does that tell us every time we come to this country? So what it tells us that there is potential, there is an opportunity, there is everything we have to fill that gap. I have seen many young men and young ladies coming to this country. I interact with so many. When I ask them, okay, what do you want to do? They tell, some of them openly tell me, you know what, Lawrence, I want to do business administration. Most of you are parents, and you interact with your children about this. I want to do business administration. I want to do political science. So I ask them, okay, you want to do business administration. Did you come with your father here? Yes or no? Did you have an uncle in this country? No. Did you have an auntie? No. Did you have your grandparents here? No. Who owns a business you're going to really work? Where are you going to work? Right? So another one asked, okay, political science. Okay, yeah, that's very good. It sounds fancy as a word. But tell me of any member of parliament in this country who has studied political science. Right? Before we talk about our members of parliament. In this country, you can become a member of parliament in this country. Anytime, any day. This is a country of equal opportunities. That is another thing I will talk about in my other speech when I come back. So that is the kind of education, like the loopholes we have when our kids, our brothers, our sisters, when they come here. That sometimes for them to choose what they have to do is sinking them instead of doing what? Raising them. And that still is energized by lack of role models within our very communities. I will tell you, with all the honesty, 80 or if not 90% of parents here, your children don't want to be like you when they grow up. If I'm wrong, challenge me. Our kids don't want to be like us when they grow up. I grew up where I was, somewhere in Masaka, where I was born, which is which constituency right now? It is Bukoto East constituency. That's where I grew up. When I heard the name Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, like I said, oh, I wish I could become a Speaker of Parliament. Oh, I could. That time I hear the name Edward Seka. It is stuck with me for life, right? Right? But when you look at our kids right now, they don't want to be like us. No, they don't. Because we come here and we have sat on our potential to the best we could. Why? Yet the opportunities, when you go to school, when you have that grit, you stick to your passion. I'll tell you right now and today, we are 2 people who are in advanced stages of researching the concept of authentic learning in Canada. 2. 1 is in Ontario here, the professor Steve Revington. He actually coined the term. He started it, and now it is being used around the world. He is voted a global teacher around the world. He is recognized by the Prime Minister of Canada as the teacher who has contributed to educational changes in this country. But I have researched the concept and published about the concept, and the book has taken me by surprise myself, and he needs me because of that. And they need me because of that. It means that we can do it. If you have your child at home, just know that that girl, that boy, can become anything in this country where they will fall sick and become attended to by the best physician the world has ever created. When they go to schools, they see the best teachers that have ever been educated. And you don't have to pay for those things. What excuse do you have as parents in this country? Let me tell you one other thing. Did you know that 65% of this population, 65% of this population is 60 years and above? 2016 census, Canadian census, start Canada. 65% of this population is 60 years and above. Now that brings me to the policy makers that we have in this house from our country. Members of Parliament, there were a couple, I saw them, and His Excellency, where the President is not, you are the President for us here, the Right Honorable Speaker. That is a gap Uganda can fill. That is a gap we can exploit. China is doing that on a large scale. My brother, Dr. Utai, has mentioned that he's an expert in that. The Philippines people are exploiting that on a larger scale. So, why is it that we cannot create a program? Ugandans here, luckily, we study in, what is this, Queen is kind of like all those countries that were colonized by Britain, Commonwealth. So we are all from the Commonwealth countries. Our qualifications are still being recognized in this country. Ask our brothers from Congo, Rwanda, those Francophone countries. When they come here, their qualifications are almost neglected, decimated completely. But here, we still have a chance, right? So that means if we could create, like the Honorable Ambassador who spoke to us, this is a program we can pick from. Bring as many Ugandans here, enter into agreement with Trudeau's government. These doors, we can knock them, and they can open. And then we can negotiate a program that we can have experts to go and train Ugandans, as many as they can, give them the hands-on skills that they need, and then ship them over here. Yes, ship them over here, reducing unemployment pressures in our dear country and giving opportunities to our brothers and sisters in this country, increasing the remittances we have to do. The last time I checked, the remittances from Canada to Uganda are around 99 millions. But that means between you and I, the people, I saw around $4 million, like going out of, so that is money, right? So now, before MC takes away this microphone, I wanted to touch something small about education. I want us to agree, ladies and gentlemen, that the education we know has changed completely. The education we are in today, the economies we live are the economies of the 21st century, requiring the 21st century skills. So the education as we knew it, as I went through Makerere, to do my bachelor's as an economist, and I did a master's in economics. Those things have changed. And trust me, His Excellency, the time you were there, things have changed completely. The economies of today are economies of ideas, and ideas turned into value, they create wealth. But are we educating our students to the economies of today? No. If you look at a classroom of 1900, it is a classroom of rows and columns. And today, it is a classroom of rows and columns. There is a message behind all that. We can talk about that. But what I'm saying, is there any way we can be willing as policymakers, as legislators, to delve into change and change the education sector? Be bold enough to be transformers, not reformers. Education has seen so much reforms as possible. But look, I want us to feel a situation as parents and sisters and brothers. How do you educate a child from childhood to the time when they become adults and you pay their tuition to finish university and they come back to sit with you at home? If you're contented with that, then don't change anything. But if you're not contented with that, let's change education. Education has totally changed, and education of today is not that education where people were educated with sure assurances, if I may use that, of getting a job. Today, we don't have to create students who are looking for jobs. We have to create students who can create themselves, recreate themselves, learn, that are able to learn, relearn, and unlearn whatever they learned, and then live in the contemporary world and ready to really embrace the challenges of the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Lawrence. Ready to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Ah, okay, quite interesting. And, Your Excellency, you want to add another learn? I'm ready to face the world. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Lawrence, Dr. Lawrence, for that elaborate speech. And I think it was interesting. Many of us have to learn something. Well, our time is fast spent, but it's also time to focus our spotlight back home to Uganda. And we are so privileged today to be with Mrs. Susan Muwezi, who is the board member of the Uganda Tourism Board, and also Senior Presidential Advisor on AGOA and Trade at the AGOA Country Response Office in Uganda. She's representing also the Executive Director of the Uganda Tourism Board. She's going to share some more about the potential, tourism potential in Uganda. Let's give her some love as she comes.
Good afternoon. The Vice President of Uganda, the Republic of Uganda, Honorable Sekandi, the Right Honorable Speaker of Uganda's Parliament, Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, Her Excellency, High Commissioner to Canada, the Honorable Members of Parliament present here, our lovely Ugandan Canadians that I see in this room today. They say a picture speaks 1,000 words. So I'll start with what Uganda looks like in just 1 minute. I want to cover it in 1 minute. The lights. No starter. Wow. Yeah, we're getting there. No, before. Yeah, I just have a quick presentation giving you an overview of Uganda. Fortunately, the High Commissioner had done part of my job, and I know we have some of the best people who do that. The Speaker of Parliament, I know she's always doing that countrywide. But I'll start with an overview of Uganda, and that includes the size of Uganda, which you heard from our High Commissioner. You all know that Uganda is land-linked, and it's located in East Africa, and it's part of the 6 East African countries. My friend, is your thing not working? Next slide. Yeah, and the population, just like we had, is about 42 million people. We have a very rich cultural diversity, and we boast of about 64 tribes with about 64 languages. What a country. You know that we have a tropical climate, 2 wet and dry season, and it's a bit semi-arid in northeast parts bordering Kenya. And Uganda is known as the Pearl of Africa because of its diverse natural endowments and beauty. And as I can see, the beautiful people in this country from all the 64 tribes of Uganda, if I was going to go table by table. So, as we are here to talk about tourism in Uganda, it's in different segments. Next slide, please. We have leisure and we have mice. Of course, he's showing the Makshon Falls National Park and the shoebill, which is a very rare bird. I don't know how many of you in this room have seen the shoebill. I'd be interested to know how many have seen the shoebill. It's a very rare bird that you can only find in Uganda. I think I need the slide, another slide, where I said that we have leisure and mice tourism. And mice tourism, you all know about mice. It highlights meetings, incentives, conferences, and event travel. And this is a segment that we are now concentrating on, and we are going to build a convention center in Entebbe. You land and you are able to hold meetings. Go before, please. Please stay there. We have leisure tourism, and in leisure tourism we have the wildlife, we have avian tourism, which is bird watching. We have ecotourism, we have culture and heritage, we have sports tourism, we have the faith-based tourism. And UTB, Uganda Tourism Board, of where I'm a board member, we are looking to develop film and historical. In the tourism sector, it's also the leading foreign exchange earner right now. It contributes about 1.2 billion, which it did in 2018. And if you compare with other countries, tourism contributes about 10% of our GDP, while Morocco tourism contributed over 50%. So you can see we still have a long way to go, and I believe that we can get there. One of the major key market sources of international arrivals are from North America, that is USA and Canada, United Kingdom and Germany, and now we are also looking at China. Under leisure tourism, as you can see from the slide that you saw, hold on please, hold on, go back. There was bungee jumping, whitewater rafting, sport fishing, mountaineering on the key mountains in Uganda, hot air balloons, speedboat trips, and kayaking. We have the faith-based tourism. You all know about the Uganda Matters Shrine in Namugongo, which every year, around 6th June, 6th, I think I'm right? 3rd June, sorry about that. You know about the faithfuls that were killed by King of Uganda. And we have also another key attraction, the Baha'i Temple, which is the only one in Africa. And we have the Gaddafi Mosque, which is the largest mosque in Africa. You are very aware that under avian tourism, Uganda boasts of over 1,070 species of birds. It's Africa's richest destination for birding enthusiasts around the world. And we have some of the most endangered species, such as the shoebill, the African finfoots, and fish eagles, African's green broadbill, and the great blue toraco. This is something to watch. And birding is quite a sport right now, and also an opportunity where I believe those of you who are here and the young people that I see in this room can make quite some money if you come back home. We have the wildlife and safaris, which is very popular. Of course, the Pearl of Africa boasts of a variety of wildlife in our 10 national parks and 12 game reserves. From the climbing lions of Queen Elizabeth, elephants, giants of the Makshon, the buffaloes of Africa in Kidepo, the endangered mountain gorillas in Bwindi and Mgahinga, man's closest relative, as you know. I don't know how many of you have seen the gorillas, which are in Kibar as well. For all its worth, Uganda is the Pearl of Africa. Bwindi boasts, it's a habitat of 120 species, 120 species of mammals, 348 species of birds, 163 tree species. And you need to go there. You need actually to live it, to understand it. Even if we try to describe it for you here, you need to go to Bwindi to live it so as to be able to appreciate it. Move on and show us Uganda through the lens. I think it's next slide. I don't know if you can find this here, but you surely can find it in Uganda. Continue. We have the cultural and heritage tourism. I've just talked about Uganda having about 64 tribes, each with different folklore and art, not forgetting dress code. I can assure you that I have been to Kenya on their functions many times, but I've never seen more beautifully dressed people like Ugandans. I'm a case in point right now. Of course, we boast of art, we boast of dance, and we boast of music. The warmth and hospitality that is embedded in cultures and in Uganda, even when you find them in Canada like we did. We've had the best hospitality since our arrival from when we landed at the airport. So we actually export that hospitality, and I'm very proud as a board member of Uganda Tourism Board to go back and say the Ugandans in Canada truly remain Ugandans. Of course, Uganda is unique in every way. It's a marvel for you to visit. We also have sports tourism as another segment. Of course, you have heard about the famous cranes right now in AFCON, and I believe we have done very well. And I know that Uganda Tourism Board has been participating, and it's been a great point to brand and sell our country. And I can assure you, AFCON last time was watched by about 6.6 billion people. So I wonder how many are watching it today when Uganda is in Group A. Yeah, selling the potential of the destination through golf, soccer, basketball as points of interest for sports enthusiasts around the world. UTB has advanced this strategy by supporting Uganda Cranes, and we signed an MOU with them in the 2019 African Cup of Nations in Cairo, Egypt, where we did very well as well. Film tourism. Uganda also is a destination in great film tourism. Famous movies cast in Uganda. I believe some of you have watched The Black Panther, The Last King of Scotland, and Queen of Katwe. Have you watched those? Did you love them? Great. So, and gorillas in the mist. Film tourism has opened up as another point of segment that we are promoting as UTB, and we know that there is potential in the Americas and in the Pacific region and East Asia. Historical tourism, in collaboration with Uganda Museum and other private sector players, we have opened up archives for libraries, museum, combining history, music, and exhibition. So if you come to Uganda, please visit the Uganda Museum. Another slide, please. I hope you all know about the Mbaru initiation ceremony, which is on the other side. And you can see a beautiful butterfly in windy, impenetrable national park. So if you visit Uganda, you don't need to come for a week or 10 days like I've come to Canada, or 5 days. You need to come for a month and come prepared to explore. Yes, there are many investment opportunities, and this is where we need the Canadians living here. Come and invest back home. You have the money, you have the knowledge, you have the energy, and there are great opportunities, and there are great incentives, I can assure you. So, well, I think I jumped. I talked about mice. No, I was talking about investment opportunities. Did I jump? No. That's the images of Lake Victoria Serena Hotel and sunset screenshots in Kidepo Valley National Park right here. I happen also to be the chairperson of Uganda Hotel Owners Association, and I can tell you that what is beautiful about investing in the hotel sector, most of our hotels are owned by indigenous Ugandans. Not to say that we are not encouraging international chains. The Hiltons have come, the Sheratons are there, the Latitudes are there, but we encourage our people to own, because our economy is private sector led, and who are the private sector? The Ugandans. There are many investment opportunities. You can establish a middle to high-end luxury accommodation. This we are very much in need of. So I call upon you to come and build lodges in our national parks. There are very good incentives to do with, if you come to invest. We need high-end accommodation facilities, the creation of tourism and hospitality schools to train and equip the workforce with international accepted best hospitality practices. I heard the gentleman who was talking about education. This is an area that is very virgin. We have almost not more than 4 training institutions, one of them being our Ginger School. So we welcome anyone who wants to come and set up a hospitality training school. High-end tour and travel trail operations in the national parks of Uganda is another opportunity. Establishment of an international convention center. This one is going to be established, like I told you, in Entebbe. International languages school to train the workforce in French, Spanish, Chinese, and Mandarin. Of course, Canada, you speak both English and French, so this would be a very good opportunity. Establishment of boat cruises on Lake Victoria and other water bodies. In the program that Mr. Mayanja gave me, I hear there's a boat cruise on Lake Ontario. What a beauty it would be to have a boat cruise on Lake Victoria. We already have some boats, but we believe we can get better boats from Canada. Canopy walks and sky trams across forests and adventure points. I've been to South Africa. I like traveling, and I really always admire. I make sure I don't stay in my hotel room. I take the bus. I go sightseeing. So I would love to see those sightseeing buses in Kampala and far beyond. And so I encourage all of you who are here, don't come only to visit, come to invest. Uganda is virgin. Uganda is waiting for you. We are glad you're in Canada. We can give you dual citizenship. Our ambassador, our high commissioner has talked about it. Come and invest in a very, very beautiful country and make money and get rich and enjoy a productive and happy life. I think I'm still on investment opportunities. Another slide. When stopover facilities, normally when you are driving, like in these developed countries, you see many stopover facilities where people pick things to eat and what. So you can build those along major towns, e.g. Kampala, Mbarara, Kasese, Mubende, Masindi, Gulu, Kitgum, you know, so that you have a chain of those stopover facilities. You can imagine all these opportunities to make money. And you are here, you can be here in summer and go to Uganda during winter. You don't need to be in this country. Establishment of high-end golf courses across the country. We are renowned for golf, and it's, we have golf courses all over, spread all over the country, but we want to make them a state-of-the-art. So come and establish high-end golf courses. General tourism marketing services in Uganda and the rest of the world. I know we have PHG consulting highlights Uganda tourism in North America, but you can also do it just like them. Medical tourism centers. I heard the education gentleman saying that Canada offers the best medical of the highest kind. Uganda has the best doctors. All we need is the equipment. Come and establish medical centers. We give you the human resource because we have it. Yeah, I need a clap for that medical tourism. Tourism transport facilities, luxury coasters and coaches and saloon cars, and also establishing eco-tourism centers in the far-flung, pristine tourism areas. I appeal to you to come to Uganda, the pearl of Africa, the land licked of beautiful, hospitable people, of fantastic, safe security, of a fantastic economy that is growing very fast, and your money, you can make it and take it back to Canada like you made it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Bangami nkwebaze mu Luganda. Webale nnyo nnyabo. Mu Lukiga bakyogera batya. Webale munonga. Okay, I hope I've got it. Tweyanziza ino mu Lusoga. Wekaza. Thank you very much, Susan, for that elaborate presentation. I mean, until now, I think I should be ashamed of myself because until now, I didn't know that Black Panther was actually shot in Uganda. Honestly, I should be ashamed of myself. That's what I said. But how many of us didn't know? I know many of you don't want to put up your hands. But you didn't know that Black Panther was actually part of Black Panther, that Wakanda is actually Uganda. Well, the Queen of Katwe, everyone knows it. I didn't know about the Black Panther one, but I'm very proud to be a Ugandan. And thank you very much, Susan, for that presentation. Well, we're almost coming to the close of our breakfast this morning. But before we come to a close, I want to invite Noah Mugenyi, who has actually written a book called Restored. It's a new book that is going to be launching anytime soon. Noah is a mental health clinician and a Canadian of Ugandan origin. Canadian and Ugandan. He's going to spend only 4 or 5 minutes, and then we can officially go into other matter. Noah, let's give him some love. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Brother Solomon. First of all, I know that English is a confusing language, but in my understanding of this language, there is one word that I really respect, and that's the word you. So I'm going to ask you as a clinician in mental health, we've been seated for over 2 hours, right? So let us stand up with my brother Ronnie here. Would you just stand up with me to just acknowledge our guests of honor in this? Allow me to take you through this 1-minute exercise, because when you sit down for too long, for over an hour, psychologically speaking, your body starts really asking for a stretch. So with that in mind, I thank you for doing that. Now we can sit down. I'm gonna utilize my phone as my way of really, definitely. You see, Nalima is already stretching. Allow me to acknowledge our guests of honor, Your Excellency, the Vice President, my mother, as I like to call her, Your Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, Sangaire Ino. Honorable, I call her our mother also, our joyful mother, Honorable Ambassador of Uganda. She's just stepped out for a quick break. And all of you, I'm so honored to have you guys here. As an organizer and a brother to Ronnie and Nalima, we are so grateful to have you here gracing this third Business Expo. I'm speaking about mental health and how that really impacts our day-to-day. When we think of mental health in the minds of Africans, I remember growing up in Uganda, whenever this idea of mental illness kicked into somebody's conversation, they would think of one place to get help, and that's Butabika Hospital. As we speak today, our Canadian research shows, and some of my friends in this field of education and learning will second me, that about 4, according to our research here, 4 to 5 Canadians you see on your table might, I'm not saying they are, might have a mental health need. It could be an illness, but it could be a need. As far as stress, Your Honorable Mama Kadaga, let me report to you that this phenomenon, stress, is one that's really crushing our people in the diaspora. And I don't think it's so different from what people are going through in Uganda or any part of Africa. Mental health as a need is something that we all need on a day-to-day basis to check in. When I assess my clients, one of my philosophy in clinical counseling is looking at the person as a whole, their mind, their physiology, and their spirituality. As we speak right now, we might think of the stressors we are going through. Because of time, I'm gonna just go with the flow, and I know I'm having almost 2 minutes left. But as I speak of the dynamics going through our diaspora here in Canada, my organizers can second me. What's happening in different parts of the world, I can say, can be a source of stress. How many of you, I like questions, asking questions as a leader and a teacher. How many of you would think stress is good or bad for you? Let me just hear a hand or two. Just your opinion. Musawo, this is my other brother, a nurse practitioner here in Ontario. Brother, what do you think? Is it good or bad for you? There we go. I will take that answer. There's good stress and bad stress. Stress can really propel you into really accomplishing certain aspects of your endeavors. How do we move from working stress to severe or acute or chronic stress? Those are conversations I would like to really encourage you that in part of my work, beyond writing the book, which is a mental health book and partly a memoir, I would encourage you to really consider looking at the back of the book, which of course speaks about your assessment, your personal assessment of your wellness. I call it a holistic approach to mental health, where you assess how you're doing from a mental perspective, from a physiological and spirituality. And if you can really do that for me, you will have done me justice. Just to start a conversation about mental health and wellness. This is something that we are battling around here in our community, as I said, but all around the world. That's something we have to really consider. Honorable Speaker, I'm aware that you are very keen on discussions about mental health in our country. I remember in our time growing up, suicide was not something that would be of an everyday thing that you hear. As we speak right now, many young men and women are taking their own lives because of different aspects and factors. We can assert to that. But I can say it's our role as each and every one of us to really consider having a discussion and talks about mental wellness and health, because it starts from talking about it. I'll also point you to another point about what my brother Solomon mentioned. We are launching this book here, but my hope within the conversations I had with my mama, Rebecca Kadaga, yesterday, is to have a discussion deeper back home that we can start conversation with our stakeholders back in Uganda. My hope is to conduct a research study next year with a hand of different people like Dr. Byama from Tabika Hospital, Dr. Peter Chitaimbwa, and other comrades from here to see how we can really tackle the issue of mental illness and addictions in our country. Let me conclude soon. Uganda is ranked number 2 in the world to be the drunkest place on the planet. Did you know that? This is the drunkest place on the planet. We drink a lot. We consume more alcohol per capita next to Nigeria. I have a personal story that I would like to end with, dedicating this book to 2 of my brothers that have lost to addiction. For some of you who have known my story, grew up in Ruero, within the struggle that brought the current president to power. My brother and I, we were captured and we were war child soldiers. I lost my brother to addiction in 2010, whom, of course, had battled with alcoholism for years. My other young brother, who follows me the second time, died in 2013. Just 3 years apart, he drank himself to death. My father, he is a recovering addict. I've seen the beauty of seeking supports and treatment, and of course, wellness at the end of that journey. This is a journey that we all have to participate in, supporting one another here in the diaspora, back home in Uganda, as well as encouraging our leaders to really start talking about these issues of mental health and wellness in the workplace. Thank you so much, and God bless you. We're looking forward to seeing you at the boat cruise, and for God and my country.
Noah Mugenyi, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I need to show people this book. Please. This is the Restored, a journey towards forgiving and healing. You can grab yourself a copy. Noah, can they grab the copy before the launch? Or
I had mentioned something to my sister here who had just reminded me. I had a little token for our leaders here. It's nothing big. Don't follow them around thinking that there's lots of money in these plastic bags here. But it's actually a copy of this book that I wanted to share with you, our speaker and the VP, as well as a copy to our president of Uganda. You can find, to answer, I'm going to start with the red one. To answer Solomon's question, you can find this book online, both my names, noamugenyi.ca. It's on Amazon, Chapters, Indigo, and all over the place. $1 goes to Can Africa, a non-profit charity organization I started in Ruero. That's invested over $250,000 into the lives of grandmothers and orphans. The other thing, as we launched the book, you're honorable. You had stepped out. I acknowledged you, and I acknowledge you now. We invited you, probably with your busy schedule, find time to attend the launch here in Canada on July 20th. Other than that, we're launching the book back home in Uganda in December. So this is a little token to our leader, the president of Uganda.
thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Noah Mugenyi. I mean, you can grab yourself a copy of his book and get to read and, dive deep into the journey towards forgiving and healing. It's a copy that is available on Amazon and also online on his website. Thank you. Thank you very much, Noah. Issues of mental health in Uganda are very critical, and I think, like he said, it's time for us to have a conversation around that. I want to now invite Ronnie Mayanja for a few housekeeping tips, and then eventually, Your Excellency, I would humbly invite you to invite the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, to address us. Thank you very much for accepting.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Mr. Solomon Seranja a round of applause for a job well done. An award-winning journalist from Uganda and a great investigative journalist as well. Before the speaker and ambassador come on stage, I just wanted to sort of give you a few housekeeping sort of concerns we had. Ladies and gentlemen, we had some officials denied, they were denied visas, so they couldn't be here. That is something that I think, Madam Ambassador, it's a really big shame when we have people from government, especially Uganda Investment Authority, NIRA, some of whom were supposed to be here, getting their visas denied. I think we might need a better way of sort of communicating and making sure that this doesn't happen again. On that note, I'm also happy to report that tomorrow during our event, we have the Minister for Immigration for the federal government here in Canada. He's going to be joining us for dinner. So some of these concerns we plan to bring to the minister because we've also made every effort to reach out. We also have a citizenship judge who will be joining us tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, the dinner is going to be taking place at 7 p.m. So please plan accordingly, come, bring a friend. We still have a couple of tickets left, but again, make yourself available to the team so you can actually be a part of that. Also crowning our evening tomorrow will be entertainment. We have Baby Cool. We invited Baby Cool for his music, not for his politics. Some people have politicized the whole occasion. So if you feel, and then we have other artists like Mother Ranks, we have Wonder Boy, all these other people who are going to be performing tomorrow. So please be aware of that. The other housekeeping concern I had was boat cruise tickets are still available. At the door, the tickets will be going for $80. We have a few left. But the boat sails at 7, so please keep time and find your way to the location where we're going to be setting off. If you have any questions, contact either myself, John, Hamza, we have Florence, and a few other people who are helping us coordinate that. It's setting off at 7, and we're going to be able to see the views of Toronto as the sun sets. And then, of course, the other thing is the speaker will be available tomorrow for a town hall in the afternoon. We encourage those people who have sort of been on social media. My belief is that even if you don't agree with government, even if you don't agree with, we can't exist in a vacuum. I would encourage those who might have questions to come and actually put them to the leaders tomorrow. I'm glad that when we reached out to Madam Speaker, one of the things that I like about her, she's very proactive. She gives you the answers in real time and also will tell you what she's able to do and what she's not able to do. So as far as trying to hold either our MPs or anything to do with legislation, especially as far as diaspora is concerned, let's come and engage the speaker, and let's come and also engage our leaders to make sure that we are able to sort of move our society forward. It's very unfortunate that, believe it or not, one of the things that have been said about this convention are totally untrue. We're hearing rumors like we were given $70,000 to literally put this thing together. As I speak today, we've not actually got a coin from government to put this event together. So ladies and gentlemen, whatever you're hearing either on social media is not true. We've not put this convention together with the support of government, giving us $70,000. And I'm saying this in front of the principals because so many people have been peddling things which are untrue and have not addressed them. And my approach is that that is not my style. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the truth. Those watching on social media, you have it, and I'm sure they're watching on diaspora television because we're broadcasting live on Facebook in and around North America. So that is for the record. So thank you. Again, on behalf of Mr. John Nalima, the chairman, and everybody who has helped us put this event together, we are still continuing. The boat cruise is going to be a great sunset bourgeoisie, if I might call it. The boat is really, really nice. So plan to be there. It's not the Ugandan type of boat. Some people were telling me, should we go to that boat? But this boat has toilets which look like the toilets you'll see here, or lavatories for that matter. It's a great boat. We actually went there, inspected, and it was top-notch. It's the best in Toronto. And we are glad that we actually can be able to host you and our VIPs on that same boat. So you're going to be our VIPs this evening. We also have entertainment on there and a couple of DJs that are going to come through. So with that, I would like to invite Mr. Solomon Seranja, but if you need a ticket, please buy your ticket before. There will not be any entrance without you paying for that. At the door, the tickets are $80. Right now, they're $50, and we have to pay for the boat because those are expenses that we incurred along the way. I don't know if I've left out anything, but please note that our guests or the additional guest speakers will be joining us tomorrow. The Minister of Canada for Immigration will be joining us for dinner tomorrow. So please come, bring a friend. We also have a citizenship judge from the federal government as well, coming to speak along those lines of how you can be able to get your citizenship squared away. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to hand back to the able Mr. Solomon Seranja, who came out all the way from Uganda. Thank you for actually doing this for us. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Ronnie. Oh, I love the word able. Thanks, Ronnie. I appreciate it very much. High Excellency, Uganda's ambassador to Canada, Joy Ruth Acheng, I want to invite you to come and invite the Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda, the Right Honorable Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga.
Thank you very much. My role here is to invite the Right Honorable Speaker Kadaga, our great daughter, our very important mother, and our support. She was here with us last year, and we are honored again to have her here with us today. Mom, thank you so much for coming. We love you. Can you come and speak to your children, please?
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. First, I wanted to correct, she is the High Commissioner. She's not the Ambassador, High Commissioner. Your Excellency, the Vice President, it's such a pleasure to see you here at this convention. Thank you for making the time. I welcome Mrs. Mwezi, who wears so many hats. Of course, our High Commissioner is our host, Mr. Nalima, the chair. And then I welcome all the Ugandans who are here. And to thank you. This is the third convention. And I think we are becoming institutionalized in Canada and in Toronto. So I hope that in the future I'll be able to invite the civic leaders of Toronto to come and be with us so that they can understand who we are and what we are doing and assist us. I just want to touch a few areas. There was the issue of the national IDs. I just want to inform you that last year, government agreed to establish 6 centers in different continents where Ugandans could process their national IDs and also get their passports. And there are going to be permanent officers, as we have been told, in Canada. There will be one in Ottawa. There's going to be one in Washington for the USA. There's going to be one in Copenhagen for the EU. There's going to, of course, be one in London for the United Kingdom Ugandans. Another one will be in Abu Dhabi for the Emirates and the neighboring countries. And then there'll be one in South Africa, in Pretoria, for the Ugandans living in the SADC region. So I hope with time we'll get more offices, but I just want to assure that government is committed to making your lives a little bit easier in accessing the documents. I have just 3 areas to ask you. When you come to Uganda, please don't just sit in your village. I want to see the national parks. Last time I was here, we talked about it. I spent 10 days a year in the national parks, different national parks. But you see more white people there than us. Actually, we are the minority. We are the minority. So bring your children to see the gorillas, to ride on the Kazinga Channel, to go for bungee jumping. Let's support our tourism industry. I also want to ask you to support our Uganda Matters. It's very, very important. Every 3rd of June, we have the Matters Week at Namugongo. Believe me, now we have 5 million people in that week. 5 million visiting. We need hotels, we need restaurants. That's an opening. And it's there, you know? It will not stop because it is now part of our national calendar. And so it's a public holiday. So you Ugandans, if you have some extra money, go and do something there. I also want to inform you about Janan Room Day, 16th February, in Muchwini. You know Janan Room, he was our archbishop who was killed during Amin's time. So it's another day that we celebrate. Again, we need facilities there. 29th October, Bishop Huntington and 67 other people. It's now also a public holiday. Come and put in some facilities. So all these are opportunities that you can be sure people are going to come. Now, I wanted to say something about, you know, who is the young man who was talking about immigration? Yes. You know, it makes it look so simple. But getting a visa to Canada. That's my member, my chair, vice chair of the, I know, the vice chair of the national economy. He has just come because his visa was not there in time. Half of my delegation are not here because, you know, they don't get them in time. So it's not as simple as that. And the other thing I want to say, and I'm glad, High Commissioner, you're here. Progressively, the Europeans are making it more difficult for us to enter their countries. The visa for Canada is now in Dar es Salaam. Dar es Salaam. Of course, I'm a VIP, mine can be done quickly, but the ordinary person, you must either be at the mercy of the consulate in Kampala, or you take the trip to Dar es Salaam. So you put money and ticket and accommodation to go to Dar es Salaam if you want it quickly. So it's not simple. The Schengen countries. When we first had the Schengen visa, a Schengen visa was enough to take you anywhere in Europe. Not anymore. There's no guarantee that you have a French visa, it will allow you to go to another Schengen country. No. So it is becoming harder. All these are problems. The UK. South Africa. These are the process. South Africa, you imagine. So you must give up traveling for 3 months. If you want a visa to the UK, you have to stop traveling because they've got your passport. You submit it to Kampala, then slowly they send it to South Africa, where you compete with everybody else. All these are barriers. But we are very nice, we Ugandans. These guys, we treat them well. We give them visas on arrival. And the cost of a visa is so high and not refundable. Yes, if they don't give you too bad, you go home and cry. So it is a serious issue. And since my elder brother, the vice president, is here, I really would want us, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to address this issue. Because it's growing. It started with the UK, and then I hope the Americans don't move their office from Kampala. Because, you know, it's also going to cause more problems. But welcome the information that once you get that visa, you can get the opportunities here. So let's also work on that. It's a good opportunity. They're going to need manpower. And Uganda has no shortage of educated people. There are a lot of people who are educated in the country, but I'm glad that His Excellency the Vice President is here. I know that he might take it up with the cabinet so that this thing is also addressed. Now, I also wanted to just inform those attending here that we are in advanced stages of making the local content law, which will enable Ugandans to get more access to services, contracts, etc. within Uganda. You know, sometimes you look at a huge contract for infrastructure and you the contractor is Chinese, the consultants are Indians. The Ugandans are doing the labor. So we want to enact that law so that we find some space for Ugandans to legitimately and profitably be able to access services. I also want to say that last week we made a new law for the landlord and tenant, so I hope that will also help to regulate the relations between the landlords and the tenants. The investment issues I will not talk about because they have been discussed by Mrs. Muhwezi and the High Commissioner. I hope that we shall continue the dialogue tomorrow so that we can all feel happy about what is happening here and also what is happening at home. So I want to end here. Thank you for inviting us. Thank you for coming. Look forward to more meetings. Thank you very much. Oh, I forgot to introduce some of my members. As I said, some have just arrived. Honorable Kibalia, please stand up. Bugabula South. Honorable Bategeka, Hoima Municipality. And the chair of the national economy, Honorable Makumbi, is here with his wife. Please stand up, madam. That is Mrs. Makumbi. Honorable Wamai. Is in honorable tender on the way or did not manage? Member of Parliament, did not get a visa. Yes. So you can see. So if an MP cannot get, how much more an ordinary person? So, Your Excellency Vice President, please help us on those issues because it's really disturbing our plans. Otherwise, I want to thank you so much and wish you well for the rest of the programs. Thank you.
Ma'am, thank you. But before you go, I was requesting you to please invite the Vice President of Uganda to come and give us a statement or two. Thank you.
Your Excellency, tomorrow, he will speak tomorrow. You just wave at him, he's there. And I want to assure you that he's with us throughout until the end. Until the end. So you'll be with him. And we're really happy to have him here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament of Uganda, Honorable Rebecca Litwala Kadaga. Ma'am, thank you so much for talking about the issue of visas. I mean, it is serious. And the other time, Right Honorable Kadaga, I ranted on Twitter. I put out a tweet at the way the people, these other countries treat us. When they come to Uganda, we give them visas on arrival. When you apply for visas, it's very disheartening. I mean, you have to send your passport to Dar es Salaam for Canada. You have to send your passport to South Africa for the UK. A lot of pain, and you pay a lot of money. Actually, if you look at the rates compared that Uganda charges vis-a-vis the rates that the other, European countries charge, it's absolutely disturbing. So I think that Honorable Speaker was right on point, and I believe that the Vice President of this country, Mr. Edward Chwanuka Sekandi, will be taking this issue very seriously to Cabinet to have a review on that. But thank you very much for coming. Before I close this, I want to, I think Musumba, Pastor Eddie Jumba from Dominion Church to
Thank you, my brother Solomon Selwanja, for the invitation. I'll take exactly 5 minutes and I'll do my best to make the most of it. But before I do that, Sister Doreen, please come join me. I'm here to share in 3 minutes or less about a project that the Ugandans in Canada have embarked on. And that is a project to construct the first ever Ugandan Canadian Community Center. This place, Mr. Chairman, this event, who knows, a couple years down the road, could be hosted at our own community center. The Vice President of Uganda, my namesake, Edward Sekandi, Munamasaka Munange, it's an honor to stand here before you. My dear Mama, Rebecca Kadaga, we are so happy to have you in Canada. Every time you come, there's a shining that comes on this nation, Canada, believe it or not. And my dear friend with whom we live together here, your High Commissioner, we thank you that you have also allowed to bless this occasion. And all the dignitaries that are here, my fellow laborers, Bishop Isaiah, I see you over there, and all other faith group leaders, I welcome you all. So I have been cautioned not to kulandaga, so I'll be sure to do that. What is this project? This project is called the first ever Ugandan Canadian Community Center. It is going to house, Vice President, I have to say, omukyala ono naye ava Masaka, so tetukukiikiridde bubi. She's one of the administrators. Mukiga naye yakulira Masaka. Yakulira Masaka. Yes. No, gye yakulira. Yasomera Bwanda Bulinda. Olaba Musumba atandise okulandagga. Yasomera Christ the King. My brother Noah spoke about the issue of mental health or mental illness or mental health needs. One of the things that is spoken about people in the diaspora is that they support Uganda's economy. Somebody could help me with the statistics. But it is the case that the people who live in the diaspora contribute a significant portion of what Uganda calls as its GDP. Thank you very much. Now, Madam Speaker, Vice President, those people, to be able to support the economy of Uganda, they need to be stable. They need to be stable in all the aspects of what it means to be a human person, mind, body, soul. And me as a pastor, the amount of times I come across individuals here that are really struggling to be stable, there are so many times. So what this community center is going to focus on is to address, in a very specific way, to address the needs of the Ugandans who live here in a way that is congruent to their social and their cultural backgrounds. And that is going to be done in these 4 areas. So the community center is going to feature, if you turn to page 20 of that book that you have, the last portion of it, page 20, the community center is going to feature a 50-bed youth shelter. It is going to feature a recreation facility, which will have 250 people capacity. It will feature mental health, immigration services, and settlement offices. So we'll have offices that attend to people's needs in those specific areas. But it will also have an area of worship, and this space is multi-faith. So our brothers who are not Christians, for us we are Christians, they could also use that space at any given point. I'm aware that some of our brothers here, they're neither Christians or Muslims, Basamizi, that is known. So they will also have space if they need. I'm not joking, I'm not making a joke. They have told me, Pastor, we feel left out sometimes, and I'll do my best to engage you as much as I can without denouncing my faith in Christ. For me to share a space with Msamize is not me to denounce my faith in Christ. In fact, I could speak a little bit more about this. We have this spirit of intolerance that you will not share space with somebody you disagree with. I think this is very, very absurd. But for us, we have determined that against all odds, we are going to stay united. We are going to stand together, and that is going to come at a cost. And unfortunately, some people have to be the ones to pay that cost. I invite you, by the mercies of God, to choose to be part of this community center. Many years after some of us have died, it will still be there. And if you're going to do that, your name is going to appear in this book. I also encourage you to attend tomorrow's service. There will be a little bit more said about that, maybe an opportunity to even do the specific writing in this book. But also on Monday, which is Canada Day, all of you, if you're here, Solomon, you don't need an invitation, you already know. We are inviting you as a community to attend, to join a barbecue that is going to be at the High Park, Toronto. Thank you very much, and I encourage you, the organizers, this is a word I cannot leave this pulpit without saying, I encourage you to focus on the good that motivated you to do this thing. I told you this is the last conference. Focus on the good that motivated you in the first place to hold this convention. Ekyawandiikibwa engero 16. The Bible says in Proverbs 16 verse 7 that when Mr. Roddy, Mr. Nalima, when a man's ways please the Lord, he causes even his enemies to be at peace with him. When a man's ways, or a woman for that matter, when your ways please the Lord will cause even your enemies to be at peace with you. So I encourage you, whether you're the Vice President of Uganda, whether you're the Speaker of the Parliament, focus on pleasing God. He will cause even your enemies to be at peace with you. May God bless you as you go home this afternoon. I will see you tomorrow at the service at 10.
Let's give Musumba a round of applause. Thank you very much, Musumba. May God bless you too. Men of God bless us, and they forget that we need to bless them back. So, may God bless you too. I just wanted to remind you, so we're having a boat cruise this evening, and it's $80, but right now, tickets are on offer for $50. You can see Ronnie as you go out. Just come and we chill. And also, we have a church service tomorrow. It's going to be an interfaith service, which is happening here at 10 o'clock. So be sure to be here. We'll have a town hall tomorrow from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And we will have a number of, government officials who will be speaking to us, and also us talking back about what's happening back home and how we can contribute, to the politics, to the development of our country. We also have a dinner tomorrow at 7 p.m. And so we'll be having great performances from different artists, including Big Size Bebe Cool and Wonder Boy and other people. So be sure to be part of the dinner tomorrow. Say no more, Solomon Serwanja. Thank you very much for coming. And Honorable Speaker and the Vice President, we are going to close this with the anthems. Let's all stand up. And I want to invite Samona. Oh, Musumba, come and lead us in the Canadian anthem. Then we'll do the East African anthem. And then we'll do the Ugandan anthem.
We'll start with the Canadian anthem in English. I don't know the French version. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all our sons command, with glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. mshikamano viwe msingi wa umoja wetu, na tulinde uhuru na amani, mila zetu na desturi zetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Viwandani na hata mashambani, tufanye kazi sote kwa makini, tujitoe kwa hali na mali, tuijenge jumuiya bora. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
O Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hands. United, free for liberty, together we'll always stand. O Uganda, the land of freedom, our love and labor we give. And with neighbors all at our country's call, in peace and friendship we live. O Uganda, the land that feeds us by sand and fertile soils grown. For our own dear land will always stand, the pearl of Africa's crown.
Thank you very much. Right Honorable Speaker and Your Excellency and team, there's going to be a photo session outside. There's already space that has been put outside for a photo moment. I would kindly request you to move outside, but
as we go, I'm inviting all of us to turn to each other to bless each other. We curse ourselves more than we bless each other. So as we go, let's take an intentional minute, second, to say, peace of the Lord be with you. Peace of the Lord be with you.
Play, pause, record, rewind. Play, pause, record, rewind. Catch your favorite local TV and radio channels on your mobile, tablet or computer. Download Your TV Channels app now on Android and iOS. Your TV Channels. Record, pause and play back live TV and radio. Play, pause.
Limuna Uganda.
I come from the black, yellow and red, symbolizing a beautiful nation, gifted by nature.
Limuna Uganda, nabo limuna Uganda. Limuna Uganda, bawa Uganda, wena tuli ba Uganda. Tuli ba Uganda. Limuna Uganda, nabo limuna Uganda. Limuna Uganda, bawa Uganda, wena tuli ba Uganda. Nabane wakanga na ba televisioni, nabo lichenda bakijubisa mu America. Biri musikate kwa kuba mu America, nabo lichaka bibaonza chimbo cha America. Kumano mutoye gomba kuba mu America, chukanga nawe mu mazima we isati America. Omu America yasala ko mu America, chukanga omu America asala omu America. Oba batikola batyabo. chino mani nayo nalelo omunubi nesodeyo yagalireko mukino kyendi we mama wanaye jagala neyagale paka wona jagala uteyagala niyana kwagala tuwagire paka we banatuwagira we nange tuli mutondu buli wana wa Uganda oba wa Luganda limuna Uganda nabo limuna Uganda
Muna Uganda,
bawa Luganda pena tuli ba Luganda
tuli ba Luganda,
limuna Uganda nabo limuna Uganda
muna Uganda.
bawa Luganda pena tuli ba Luganda
Ulira, bampita loko bwembimbira amululimi Oluganda nindinyumisa wabula nsasira baba tenyumiriza maidentite neyokuba omuna Uganda ogenda n'omubuuza wajja yasibuka nga n'abantu basibukamu abasalawa abawagizi Abamerika babiri bamusingira omutolo nga bafirika gye baba babayala abesi bakuba abasalawa ne baleka gye babaagala zibayita bafala abesi bakuba abasalawa ne baleka gye babaagala
limuna Uganda nabo limuna Uganda
Muna Uganda,
bawa Luganda pena tuli ba Luganda
tuli ba Luganda,
limuna Uganda nabo limuna Uganda
muna Uganda.
bawa Luganda pena tuli ba Luganda
The way we are sing and the way we are dance, everything we are do is Ugandan style. My attitude, my accent, my instrument is Ugandan style.
Bandi tukwatagana penanga tutati mutu yapagana kubanga tufanagana tetusana kubanga tulanagana
Uganda lobo ma belle, yo me du chuti ma belle, take ma belle, Kimondi chuti ma belle, wear ma belle, hear ma belle, watiki rook ma belle, jami du chuti ma belle. Okwatanisa hamwe ni gomani, agari hamwe ni goga kurume nyama. Iskanyo when you tuli omuntu omwe, let's get together and build up the pal.
limuna Uganda nabo limuna Uganda
Muna Uganda,
bawa Luganda pena tuli ba Luganda
tuli ba Luganda,
limuna Uganda nabo limuna Uganda
muna Uganda.
bawa Luganda pena tuli ba Luganda Oh motherland, sweet motherland Uganda, my motherland for life in bad times and good times. Limuna Uganda.